Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 13th Annual Trail Forum, our region's premier opportunity to learn and discuss all aspects of planning, designing, building, and maintaining trails. I'm Bart Landis. I'm the Executive Director of Catawba Lands Conservancy and Carolina Thread Trail. Thank you for being with us, even though we can't really be together. It's a shame to miss out on all the friendship and fellowship and networking that usually goes along with this conference, but we'll do our best to replace it with a different version. I hope you'll be able to figure all this stuff out. Only good thing about COVID, which obviously is the reason we're meeting this way, is that it reminded everyone how valuable it is to have the opportunity for outdoor recreation and the opportunity to be in nature to heal mind and body and soul. So we can at least be thankful for that. We're also very thankful to all of our sponsors for sticking with us in this new version of the Trail Forum, and to all of you for being here, and to all of our speakers for their flexibility and adaptability to this new thing. I want to give special thanks to Vanessa Covington and the other members of the Carolina Thread Trail staff who turned on a dime to produce this new version of this event. Again, thanks very much for being with us, and I hope you enjoy the day. Bret Baronak, our Trail Director, will now tell you a little bit about the highlights for this year. Bret?
All right, thank you, Bart. Appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. A little bit different this year than what we're normally used to, but it's great that we have so many of you participating, and look forward to a great program today. Many of you who have attended Trail Forum in the past know that I typically get the morning started by celebrating a lot of the success that we've had in the previous year, and point towards the future and what we see our goals in advancing the Carolina Thread Trail and the work with all of our partners. So before I get into that, I do want to have some time to recognize all of those who have been so supportive of Thread Trail from a sponsorship standpoint. As you can see on the screen, with the generosity of McAdams, they are our presenting sponsor. So I want to really give a lot of thanks to McAdams, because they stepped up, they helped out with the sponsorship, and Iona and her team at McAdams have just done such great things for advancing trails throughout the state of North Carolina and beyond. And I want to give them some special recognition for being such a wonderful partner in Trail Forum this year. So thanks to McAdams, a lot of great work coming out of that consulting firm. And also our session sponsor, Fortified Data, and thanks to them for their assistance, as well as our exhibitors. As you see on the screen there, McAdams, Blue Ridge Trail Works, Withers Ravenel, Blue Blaze, Benish, Permatrack, and Carolina Thread Trail. So those are exhibitors that will be having some virtual exhibit space throughout the day that you can get in there and learn a little more about what those organizations do. I need to thank all of our session leaders. I typically send out that email in the summer asking for, anyone interested in providing, lending their expertise to the Trail Forum and conducting a session with us. So all of those that you see on the screen there, much appreciated for your willingness to participate and really kind of bestow your knowledge and expertise on all of the attendees. It's a lot of new knowledge comes out of our Trail Forum every year. A lot of beneficial knowledge comes from all the experts. So we really appreciate that willingness to provide those sessions. Today's agenda, I'm going to be talking here for the next 45 minutes. We'll have a little bit break, and then we have some concurrent sessions at 9:30 to 10:30 break, and then our second round of concurrent sessions will be from 10:45 to 11:45, and 11:45 to 12:30 is going to be opportunity for, it's our lunch break, but it's also a real opportunity for some virtual networking. And you're really going to enjoy our keynote speaker this year. We have Jesse Strawham, who I'm going to talk a little bit about here in a minute. Going to be a great keynote. And then the last half hour of the day is going to entail some additional opportunities for networking, and then we'll close out the session. I do want to remind you of a few things. We will have a survey to fill out so you can evaluate how the trail forum went. Remember to complete that. I think at 11:30, everybody through this HOOVA program will be informed and reminded of the survey, and that will be provided to them. And then I also want to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities to make your experience today more pleasing, and just take advantage of the capabilities that we have here through the virtual platform. You can join in some topic chats or post some of your own. There's going to be video meetups, and you can create some of your own video conference through or your own Zoom link. Some of these things are a little bit beyond my area of expertise, but we do have lots of capabilities for you to a best of our ability, sort of mimic what we're able to do in person traditionally. There's going to be a lot of engagement opportunities through the community section here. We will have that break at lunch, like I said, for 45 minutes. You can view other attendees who are participating in Trail Forum today through the attendee page. And after Jessie is done with her keynote, she will be available for that final half an hour of the days that you can meet up with her through the community page and ask some additional questions and learn a little bit more about Jessie and her and what she does. And then also there's a Ask the Organizers Anything topic discussion. So if you have questions throughout the day, you can post those there. So there's lots of capabilities here, and we hope that you'll take advantage of it. So a little bit about the keynote, Jessie Strawham, who I just mentioned. She's going to be our keynote today, and Jessie she's going to bring a real interesting and unique perspective to trails. Jessie was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident in 2015, and through some of the challenges that she faces, she's really kind of centered her world on inspiring others to identify ways that they can overcome the challenges that they may have, and you know, make it through life and find the positive in some of the negatives that perhaps have been, you know, placed on them. I like the note down at the bottom. It says there's a positive in every negative. So, you know, traditionally our keynote is about inspiration, and I think that having Jessie today, you know, I think inspiration is probably going to be an understatement. You know, we've had the fortune to work with Jessie and do some filming that you'll see today. She's just been great, and I think you're really going to enjoy her program and her inspirational message that she has. She loves trails. She uses trails and nature as a source of inspiration. So she's going to talk a little bit about some of the local trails that she uses, and, you know, her experiences, and you know, give us the opportunity to learn from her and really kind of take that into context as we think about designing and ensuring that our trails are most accommodating for everybody that wants to get out there, take advantage, and enjoy them. So looking forward to that. Real quick, Carolina Thread Trail overview. I know a lot of you participating are familiar with us, but for those of you that are new, you know, the Carolina Thread Trail is an organization and an effort to connect a regional system of trails around 15 counties in North and South Carolina. Everything that we do is so predicated on partnerships, whether that's through our lead organization of the Catawba Lands Conservancy or just the 88 municipalities and 15 counties that are out there who really have identified trails as an important amenity in their communities and something that they want to provide to make the quality of life better for residents and visitors. So right now we have about 1,630 miles of planned trail. There's 300, and there's going to be 300 plus real soon with all the construction that's going on throughout the region. And then, you know, we always emphasize that, you know, blueways are a big part of the trail system as well. Paddling is in such demand, and we have great rivers and waterways in this region to take advantage of for paddling. So we've identified about 170 miles of blueways that are out there as well. So that's kind of in a nutshell the region. And I really want to talk about, you know, 2020, to say the least, has been the most unique and interesting year that's created a lot of hardships. But through those hardships and through that sort of dark cloud, there's a silver lining. And I want to talk about how we take something that, you know, talk a little bit about how it's affected the Carolina Thread Trail and our partners, and how we've kind of used that to turn trails into an opportunity. And I think when I sent the email out looking for sessions, recruiting candidates for sessions for the Trail Forum, I talked about, I don't think there's ever been a time where our work has been as important as it is now. And, all of you I know have seen how people have gravitated towards trails and getting to the outdoors and using that to, really kind of get in a better state of mind and look for, physical well-being, mental well-being, and spiritual, quite frankly, being out with nature. But, it has created some impacts to the Carolina Thread Trail and our efforts, and we've had to be very adaptable to that. And, some of the challenges include, you know, uh, having to cancel some of what I call our signature programs. Many of you have been involved in National Trails Day in the past. Pop-up picnic is another large event that we have, and following guidelines, it just wasn't appropriate to do that. So we've had to cancel that, and we're keeping our fingers crossed, obviously, for next year. Managing the public information and the messaging that's out there. When COVID hit, and there were all kind of rules and notices being sent down from local municipalities, the state, wherever it was coming from, it was a very arduous task to kind of keep on top of that, and also keep in communication with all of our local trail partners who happen to own and maintain the trails, what their messaging was, and making sure that we were consistent on social media. So that was, that was something we had to be very diligent with. And you can see there in the picture that, we put a lot of signs out there. And then I also, had some impacts on volunteering. Our volunteer programs are a backbone of our organization. And because of the need to practice safe distance and, the level of comfort that people really didn't have with COVID, we couldn't bring large groups of people together to work on our trail. So it really taxed our staff to be out there on their own doing work. And one of the photographs I have here in the slide shows our trail stewardship associate out there doing a trail reroute by himself. So, and whereas normally we'd have a group probably of a dozen volunteers out there helping make that happen. So, kudos to staff and just adapting to these things that have been thrown our way and the curveballs that have been thrown to us. Managing our maintenance activities, like I said, postponing of programs. Another key feature of what the Thread Trail does to raise awareness of our trails is, getting programs out there so we can raise awareness and promote the trails, and just getting people out there to enjoy themselves and recognize the benefit that trails are. And then, quite frankly, the COVID has created a lot of anxiety, I guess, with economics, whether it's personal economics or the business world, all of those things. And as a not-for-profit, we have to be cognizant of that as well. And of course, municipalities with their revenues coming in, they have to be cautious in how they approach the budget. And we'll see what 2021 brings. But I feel good about where the Carolina Thread Trail stands now as financially as an organization. But we have to see what happens in the future. This has had a real, quite the impact on the funding world. So hopefully, as time progresses, we'll see that, we'll work our way out of that, because that, that could mean, impacts to our trail projects with revenue streams. And I know some of the organizations that provide funding for that have, kind of been put on hold for a little bit, or they've had to shift money elsewhere. So those are a lot of the impacts that we faced as an organization and working with our partners as well. And then, but like I said, opportunities. How do you find that silver lining in the dark cloud? And all of there has been absolute unprecedented increases in the amount of people going out and using trails. And not only the numbers, but the diversity of trail users. I mean, I'm fortunate to live right next to a greenway, and the variety of people that I see out there using it is just amazing to me. And it's my hope, and I have very much guarded optimism that, if and when we do get through COVID, people are going to realize what trails meant to them. and how that brought respite during a time that was very stressful. And so there's families out there, and I hope they continue to get out there and use the trails, and that those volumes, stay at those levels that we're seeing right now, because across the board, it's been 50 to 100% or more in increased levels based on some of the counts that have been out. And, I know we have one particular trail, the thread through the Catawba Lands Conservancy. Over the past few years, it's gone up 2,000%. I mean, it's just an amazing increase in what we're seeing with the numbers out on trails, and we obviously hope that stays. And I think that's a real eye opener to the decision makers who make those calls on funding trail projects, and realize how important and how vital and critical they are to the community, and the multitude of benefits that they provide. I love that people are discovering outdoors for the first time. I love to get out on the trail, talk to individuals, and learn from them what their experience has been, and how they want more of these things. So it's I think there's a real opportunity for all of us to take advantage of with COVID. And again, taking that positive out of the negative, I think we have a very bright future when it comes to trails. So wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, Mother Nature. It seems like 500-year floods are becoming twice a year now, and we've had to face the impacts of just a few weeks ago. We had the flooding, and I know in Charlotte with I think Little Sugar Creek, that was the highest it's been in 23 years or something like that. But out on some of our trails, our boat launch got damaged. We have places where you never think water could collect, it does. And you see that there in the middle picture with our Far Preserve Trail. And then, our bridges. It's amazing that the water can get up as high as it does, but you can see the evidence there that water went right over top of one of our suspension bridges out in Cabarrus County. So we've had to deal with that. And you talk about the volunteers not being readily available like they've been in the past. It's puts a lot of weight on the staff to get out there and repair those things. So we've had to adapt, and I can't state enough the adaptability of our staff here at the Thread Trail and the Conservancy to get out there and address those items. So I'm going to get into the trail highlights of 2020. There's been a lot going on, and there's a lot to be excited about, because there's lots of construction happening right now. And if you look at this map of our region, there's trails happening all over the place. And that's a great thing to look at there, where you can see that many stars and locate those trails where we see such activity with advancing trails throughout the region. So some of the highlights, we have projects going on north to south, east to west. Just a few to mention here. Lindsay Pettis Greenway down in Lancaster is just completed, and that's 2 miles down there. And that's just a great effort of that organization and that the folks in Lancaster County and Lancaster City to get that off the ground. And it's an amazing greenway. They just had the opening for it last week. So there's about 18 miles of trail that are either completed or under construction right now. And I will say real quick, there's a lot of information in here, and because the session's being recorded, you'll be able to go back and look at all this information in a little bit more detail, because I don't quite have the time to pick out every individual trail, but I am going to select a few that I think are definitely highlights. But from these tables, you can see there's just a lot going on. 18.2 miles is great. And I know from a strategic planning standpoint, we're hoping that throughout the region, that we can average about 20 miles of trail per year over the next 5 years and have an additional 100 on the ground, if not more than that, being conservative. And then we have pipeline projects as well. These are ones that are kind of in process, but a little further out. And there's 21 miles of those. So you look at everything together, we're up at 40 miles of trail that are active right now, that are in process. So over the next couple of years, to add 40 is quite an accomplishment. And really, this is all about celebrating our community partners. All of you out there who are active in trails, you have supported the Carolina Thread Trail, and by acting locally with your trail efforts, you're contributing to something much larger, that regional system that we are trying to get in place to really help create an identity for the greater Charlotte region and brand this area as a trail destination. So you know, I always say this, but so much of the success of the Carolina Thread Trail is predicated on all of you out there making those trails happen. So a big thanks, and I know this would be the place when we traditionally meet in person where we would have an applause throughout the room. So thank you, everybody, and our partners. Just a few to talk about. Lindsay Pettis Greenway, as I just mentioned, this is a new 2-mile trail down in the city of Lancaster. They just opened up. It's right next to downtown, and there are parts of it where you wouldn't realize you were that close to a downtown because of just the natural environment that this trail takes advantage of with conservation areas through the Catawba Valley Land Trust. And I should say that as these trails come online, you can always find out more about them on the Carolina Thread Trails website and our official trail map. So these will be getting up on that service soon, so you can find out more about these. But you know, kudos to all in Lancaster for making this happen, and Lindsay Pettis, and I'd give a shout out to Sherry Gregory on this as well. Riverfront Greenway in Mount Holly, lots of good things happening in Mount Holly, small community that's really making trails a priority. This runs along the Catawba River excuse me, and connects Tuckasegee Park north to downtown Mount Holly, and will connect into eventually the Dutchman's Creek Greenway that's just on the other side of Route 27 in downtown, and this connects up to eventually to a park. And what's unique about this trail is, you know, it was made possible in large part to the Caramount, and Caramount's new Mount Holly facility is right on the Greenway. So, you know, I think there's just a natural marriage there between the health community and active living on the Greenway. And it's great to see Mount Holly advancing this. And I think that by the beginning of, by the beginning of the year, this will be fully open. Hector Henry Greenway, Concord's doing a great job with developing the Rocky River corridor. Rocky River corridor in Cabarrus is one of the Carolina Thread Trail priority corridors. It's part of the north-south spine. And regionally speaking, it's going to be this corridor that connects to the eventual Cross Charlotte Trail coming in from the Mallard Creek area up into Cabarrus County. So this is just a connection that's into the Weddington Road section right behind Bruton Smith Boulevard. And it's pretty much completed, but I don't think it's officially open yet, but they've done a great job in advancing trail in Concord and Cabarrus County. River Park Greenway extension down in York County and Rock Hill. This is a short but very important connection that essentially starts to mature what's called the Manchester Creek corridor up the hill from the Catawba River and the Riverwalk and River Park trail system, and will eventually work towards downtown Rock Hill, and not the least of which is going to provide a key connection to the Panthers facility once that comes online in a few years as a community connection that's going to have such an impact on the city of Rock Hill and York County in general. So Rock Hill's doing a lot of great work. Kannapolis, shout out to them, nearly 2.5 mile greenway that's going in right now, and hopefully will be done by the end of the year. I know there were some impacts from some of the flooding, but this is coming online quickly. So Gary Mills and his group out in Kannapolis, congratulations on this excellent greenway. I just love the look of that fresh asphalt being laid down there in that middle picture. So, and this is part of the Irish Buffalo corridor that will connect Concord and Kannapolis. Shout out to our friends in Mecklenburg County. The next section, the Little Sugar Creek Greenway from 485 down to Polk Historic Site, is just adding additional miles. I think it's another nearly 2 miles to the connection that comes down from Tyvola, and then make its way through Huntingtown Farms. This is an extremely popular greenway, and Mecklenburg County is doing such great work, and eventually this will make its way down to the South Carolina state line. So, the Little Sugar Creek Greenway, the work that the county and the city of Charlotte are doing through Mecklenburg County, that's just a signature project and means so much regionally to the Carolina Thread Trail. It really serves as a momentum builder for other parts of our region to get their trails advanced and to eventually connect into this centerpiece of the region. I really want to talk a little bit about Little Sugar Creek Greenway from Brandywine to Tyvola. this is a great project being undertaken by the city of Charlotte. And I was talking to Joe Fry for a little bit yesterday about this project, and you can just see there the marvel of engineering that this project is. The amount of retaining wall and getting underneath. I think there's 3 roads it goes under, and this is just out the door from our Thread Trail offices. So we get a lot of questions about this, and just a a very complicated project. It'll take a little while, but I think by 2022, this should be in place, and we'll have that continuous connection from Pineville the whole way up into uptown Charlotte and working towards NODA. Uh, so the city, congratulations on your work there and getting that extremely complicated project started. It's going to look great. The Atwater Greenway, this is up in Iredell County in Mooresville. I wanted to mention this because this is a product of a new residential development in Mooresville, just to the west of 77, near Judas Road, as it's called, in Lake Norman area. And this is going to be about 1.5 miles in total distance. They got about a half of it done now. And eventually this has the potential to connect in to another property where there's going to be a new school located. So it's strategically it's going to be a great greenway connection to allow for students and their families to go back and forth between home and school. And then wanted to recognize Huntersville and the great work that they're doing. And I love their sign here, coming soon, the Vine Greenway is going to connect from I-77 and the Torrance Creek Greenway area over into downtown Huntersville. So I know that the town and their elected officials have made a real commitment to making sure that the greenway system is robust in Huntersville. So Tracy and her team in Huntersville, thanks for all the great work that you do. And then just another project that I wanted to mention that we've advanced on. We're nearly in the final acquisition steps for getting 3.5 miles of CSX rail corridor down in Great Falls, South Carolina, which is the southernmost point of our region. And this is going to be a real game changer for the town of Great Falls. We're going through the due diligence right now, some environmental assessments in acquiring this property. But this is really going to be a complementary project and a critical project to the eventual Dearborn Island State Park that Duke is overseeing there, and is really on the radar for the whitewater community. There's going to be a couple of whitewater channels that are going to be rewatered, and you're going to have some class 3 and 4 rapids in the short run, and then I think about a mile long run as well with some class 2 rapids. And then this rail trail is just going to be, it affords great views of the Catawba River. It's going to provide bike ped access to the State Park Island. So the team down in Great Falls has just been great. We're so excited about the impacts of this project in the future and what it's going to do for, really strengthening ecotourism as a draw to Great Falls. Talk a little bit about our trail implementation grant. Each year we have a couple of cycles for this grant that really serves to kind of leverage additional dollars to help out around the region to get projects facilitated. And I'm proud to announce that we awarded $391,000 this past our spring cycle. And that's a financial catalyst to 19 miles of new trail. So it's going to have an impact. And we're so happy to work with our partners on this. And, we would not fund these unless we thought that they were really good projects, very meaningful, and very, very, high quality projects that are going to bring amenities to the locals who live there. For instance, Cleveland County Water, the water utility, is working on eventually 3 miles of trail in a very rural part of north central Cleveland County. And it's going to make such a difference and afford some opportunities of outdoor recreation that haven't been there through the years. So we're excited to work with our partners through the grant program. And then community engagement, like I said, volunteer work days have kind of, run into a little bit of a challenge and a roadblock, if you will, to past years because of COVID. We started out strong, and I'm happy to say that in the last couple of months, we've been able to ramp up those efforts, and we're starting to get a few more work days online. We're getting a few more people out. We're keeping our distance and keeping our masks on. So, hopefully that will continue to gain strength in the months ahead. But certainly the volunteer work days are vital to our organization, and it's great to start ramping those back up. Our public and member programs have kind of, in the same vein, they've had to be put on hold a little bit through the middle of the year, but again, we're ramping those efforts back up with the hikes and the bike rides and the paddling trips. And I want to mention real quick too that we have a special partnership going with the Lakeview community in West Charlotte, and multiple partners involved there to essentially really rally around the community, engaging the greenways that are about to come upon their community, and how they can kind of take ownership of that and engage the amenity that that's going to be for their community. And there's a bike program that we're working on with Trips for Kids and others to have that as a program there. And again, kind of going back and creating that sense of community and ownership in West Charlotte. So it's a really unique program, and it speaks to our elevated efforts to work to ensure that there's social equity and diversity in the in the work that we do here at the Carolina Thread Trail. And I think that's something important to all of you as you carry out your activities for trail advancement in your communities. So shout out to Liam Barr from our organization, our program director for that. National Trails Day, we had to postpone it this year or cancel it, but we're hoping we'll be back strong and ready to go in June 5th of next year. It's going to be in Tuckasegee Park in Mount Holly. As some of you know who have been there, we get lots and lots of people to come out there for a day of just a variety of activities that are really centered on family friendly types of activities. There's opportunities to paddle, celebrate the new Riverfront Greenway in Mount Holly, and it's a lot of fun for everybody, and we're hopeful that that can come back online in June. It will be far enough removed from COVID that at least we'll have fairly robust attendance for that. And I do want to take a minute to identify one of our new efforts at the Thread Trail. You can never do enough to strengthen the brand, and our leadership, and I want to commend the leadership on our governing board for helping in this initiative, is we want to come up with new signage. We found through the years that over time that we still need to really broaden our recognition, and more people need to know about us. And part of that is really coming up with a consistent signage across the region. So, I'm happy to announce that we're in the midst of what we call our pilot program for signage. And we've been working with the towns of Cramerton and McAdenville to establish our new signage in the South Fork corridor in Gaston County. And we're also in the opening steps of our second pilot, which is going to be in Cabarrus County, working with this town or city of Kannapolis, city of Concord, and also Cabarrus County. And I showed you the earlier slide, the Irish Buffalo Creek Greenway in Kannapolis. That's going to be a focus of our new signage. So for those of you out there that have the trails that want to learn a little bit more about how the signage can become part of your trail system and really kind of promote what it is that you're creating that helps to strengthen our regional trail system, we'd love to talk to you more about our signs. And I'll be available throughout the day in a topic room about any questions that you may have for me as the project director at Thread Trail. And these are just a few more pictures. So we have trailhead signs, we have wayfinding signs, and we also have pavement markers that we tend to put on our the sidewalk areas, the sidewalk connectors, the overland connector areas. So it's a great project, and it's received a lot of rave reviews, and the town of Cramerton loved it a lot. And we went in there and put the cement in the other day to make these permanent. So great effort on our part to really help to recognize our brand throughout the region. I did want to give a little toot our horn here. The Rails to Trails magazine earlier this year did a story on the Carolina Thread Trail and some of our partners talking about what the Carolina Thread Trail is all about and what this trail system means to the greater Charlotte region. So it was great to be mentioned in a national publication like that. So we were very pleasantly surprised, and I know they gave special recognition to trails in Charlotte and Mecklenburg, our Kings Mountain Gateway trails, the photo you see on the right, some trails out in Cherokee County, South Carolina, our Lake Welchel Trail, and also down in York County as well. So very good publicity for the Thread Trail and our partners. So as we typically do each year, it's very important for us to, and that really concludes my presentation. I want to kind of move on to the next part of it, which is of utmost importance because it brings recognition to something that I mentioned earlier, which I think is a backbone of our organization, and that's all of the volunteers that we have helping us out, whether it's out on the trail, whether it's being an ambassador to working events around the region. We are really have such gratitude and are grateful for the work of our volunteers, and especially all the work that Vanessa has done at the staff level to recruit volunteers to come out and make a really robust program that's so critical to the work that we do. So I want to announce, you know, if we were in person, we'd typically be providing a I guess a plaque in person and everything, but I want to mention Lynn Riviera. Lynn is our 2020 Carolina Thread Trail Volunteer of the Year. We met Lynn back in 2018. She came to us with her just possessing such passion and her gratitude for the ability for her and her family to access nature. And you'll see Lynn a lot at the Mineral Springs Greenway in Union County. And she's just been such a passionate and tireless volunteer in helping us throughout, not only in Mineral Springs, but throughout our region. And she's always there willing to get involved in our work days. It's her personal mission to take care of the Mineral Springs Greenway. And she's put in 200 hours at Mineral Springs just to make sure that particular preserve and trail is always in great condition. So I could go on, and it still wouldn't be enough to recognize, you know, our gratitudes to Lynn Riviera. And I know, Lynn, you're out there in the virtual land listening to this. So perhaps all of you can do your virtual applause, but we want to recognize Lynn Riviera. She lives in Monroe, and she's the 2020 Carolina Thread Trail Volunteer of the Year. So congratulations, Lynn. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and we can look forward to your continued participation in the great work that you do with the Thread Trail. So thank you very much, and congratulations again. And then finally, you know, on behalf of everybody who works at the Thread Trail and the Catawba Lands Conservancy, these wonderful smiling faces you see here on the screen in front of you, it couldn't be done with all of us working as a team. It's a blessing to work here and be surrounded by such intelligence and passion and just good-natured individuals that I'm fortunate to share, you know, our work with. So I want to recognize all of us who work for the organizations, and also, you know, give a shout out to our leadership at our governing board level too. Our governing board is so supportive of the work that they do. They take it upon themselves to really help us out, you know, above and beyond attending the quarterly meetings or the, you know, monthly meetings that we have. So I want to recognize them as well, because they really, you know, help to keep our morale high and reinforce us that the work that we're doing is very important and very appreciated. So if you get a chance to thank some of my teammates today, please do so. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation. And I want to thank all of you out there for attending Trail Forum, and those of you that I have the pleasure of working with all the time. Thank you so much for your partnership. And that's it.